Hi everybody, my name is HMK and next to me I have my lovely queen Abyssinia.
Hi.
And in front of us we have Suze Hawk of Dania, and she has invited us today to her house to explain to us what a Lady of GOR is. So, without further ado, my first question to Lady Suze is, what is a free woman in GOR?
Well, first of all, welcome to Tharna.
Can we get in? I want to sit.
Oh, sure. Please welcome to our home. My companion is away on business at the moment,
Yeah.
so we have the whole place to ourselves.
Oh, it's so
And the
nice.
doors get shut on me.
Oh, it looks so nice.
Yes, my companion provides a beautiful home for us.
Okay, lovely.
Yes, well, I am a free woman. I was born free to a family of scribes. I've lost them when I was very young, and I set out on my own and came here to Tharna, a beautiful place. I am here now as a scribe. I work as the editor of the Tharna Scroll. Also, I am the Scarlet Scribe for the Royal Tharna Guard and the Tharna Rangers. My companion, who I adore, is the commander of the Royal Guard. I'm very proud of him. So, as most would know, in GOR, the men are the dominants. Right or wrong, what they say goes. And most proper ladies would most likely support their every decision.
So,
I'm very lucky.
what if you don't agree with the decision? What rights do you have as a free woman of GOR?
Honestly, as a free woman of GOR, I have no rights. None at all, quite frankly. When I agreed to the companionship and continued with the ceremony, I submitted to my companion in every way. Everything that I own now belongs to him, whether that is property, and my body. Although outside the house I am offered some leeway, I am allowed to speak my mind to a certain extent. However, I've had some experience with some outbursts and have been punished by my companion in order to correct my behavior. I am here to honor his house and him, and I work very hard at doing that. I obviously want to make him very happy and do everything I can to do so.
It sounds like it's a very hard role play to actually do, because a lot of women will say, no way, I'm not having this, I'm a person, I have rights. But it doesn't sound like that. How do you feel?
Well, it's very frustrating because a lot of times you find that maybe the slaves have it much easier, although they do not. I will always contend that I am much happier with my case duties than that of the slaves. However, I still have to look after the house. I still have domestic responsibilities and such. Actually, I find slaves have much more freedom than I, and also have the attention of my companion more than me, which can be quite frustrating, and is probably the reason why a lot of free women are found to be frigid and cold. There's a reason for it. I do find it really unfair in many ways, but such is life on GOR. We are free. We are free to move about to a certain degree. Even here in Tharna, for instance, we don't have to wear veils, but my companion does wish me to wear veils, and so I do in order to please him. It
Okay,
doesn't.
so what is the purpose of a veil if you don't need to
The
wear one?
Well, the purpose of a veil really has to do with modesty. As a free woman in GOR, in many places, we are expected to wear robes of concealment. This is only to protect ourselves from leering men, to hold our values to ourselves. Slaves are to be open and about their body and available for use, whereas free women are not. They should only be available to their companions within the privacy of their own homes.
Sounds like a perfect marriage for a guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yes, obviously Korean men have it made here. There's just no doubt about that. There's not much we can do about it. Men are so much stronger than Korean women. Korean women have the strength of a 12-year-old boy. To our advantage, I must say, and I'm hoping my companion doesn't hear this, is we do have our wits. And we do have our intelligence, and there are ways to persuade our men and others to do as we wish. We just have to be careful that they are honored and respected in every way for it to be.
Well, I think every woman knows how to get around their men, even in real life, let alone in second life. You know, so yeah, a woman is very intelligent. I don't doubt that. But why pick the role of a free woman when the role of a slave gives you more freedom?
Well, the role of a slave, I think, is so much more difficult. And quite frankly, it's very difficult for me to speak on that role. I do not know it. And since I've been on GOR, that's been only about 3.5 months, I have been strongly persuaded to take on that role. And because of my own personal core values and earthly ideals and hang-ups, I have resisted. And I've spoken to many slaves, and a lot of them really enjoy that role. They're getting something out of it that I just don't know. I don't understand. So I do suggest you do a report on slaves in the same manner. I can tell you my fear has to do with the brutality, because slaves are treated less than Bosks and Vulus and that kitchen table over there. They're treated as nothing, a piece of property that can be used and abused. If your slave is damaged in any way, all that is required is compensation. So no, that is not something that appeals to me as a Korean woman or as an Earth woman. If I have the right companion, when it comes to intimacy, it doesn't. I'm getting what I need out of this relationship. Intimacy does not only have to do with being sexual. It has to do with the mind, in the heart, in the spirit, and most importantly, I think, core values. I'm lucky in this sense. Most companionships are arranged for political reason. Some of us love that person prior. I freely made the decision to submit to my free companion. I was lucky in that regard. I could have easily been sold off by a brother or a father for an unpaid debt. However, once I became his companion and submitted to him. I am owned by him in every other way. The only difference is I am treated much more differently than I am as a slave. I am held in higher regard. I do have a lot of say in how our house is run. However, my companion will always have the last word, and I have to honor it. I have to say, though, I will give my companion 3 good talks, and after 3 times, if he still says no, I'm quiet about it. I'm lucky because I don't want to anger him. This man bends over backwards to make me happy here, and I don't want to push my luck.
Well, you sound very, very happy, and you have a lovely house, and you know, so
Yes.
obviously being a free woman in GOR is not as bad as what people imagine, because isn't there a lot of stereotype of you're a GOR woman and you've got to do this and do that and you can't have a say? Yet you're saying here that you do have a say.
Yes, and I think that has to do with the individual. Just like on Earth, on GOR, we all come from different societies, different ways of upbringing, different beliefs. So we all here still have our different opinions. So stereotypes will always exist. It's how, as individuals, we handle the accusations or assertions. As individuals, that is upon us, how we handle that in a healthy manner, not only for ourselves, but for our families and our neighbors, because our homestone is pretty much all that matters here on GOR. That is what we need to protect. That is what we grow around. And we all as individuals have not only a stake in how that all turns around, but a responsibility to nurture it and to help it grow in a positive manner. There's not much you can do about stereotypes. In every organization, whether on Earth or on GOR, there will always be a few bad apples in the bushel. It's
Yes.
how we handle it that matters.
Yeah, we have the same issues in the Bloodlines clan,
Yeah.
but I'm a little bit more direct. It's my rules or you're out. It's that simple, you know.
Well, and that is a reality on SL GOR, because also each sim and group are owned by completely different people with completely different interpretations of GOR. And it's been difficult for someone like me who's only been here for a short time, have only read 4 books, and I'm playing against people who live and breathe GOR, both in and out of Second Life. So we have to respect each other and role play together to the best of our abilities, not argue and ignore each other, but really try to keep an open mind. Just as in good role play, you listen for the post and then you react to it. Sometimes a little pause can hurt before responding. You want to include everyone in your role play. This is a good lesson, I think, in real life as well.
Yeah, always give a little bit of time for someone to read what you've typed. So, does reading the GOR books help you in your roleplay as a free woman in GOR?
Well, to be honest, I've only started reading the books about a month ago, and I would say yes. What helped me was immersing myself into role play in the different communities on SL GOR. That was the #1 integral component to my success. The more I engaged with people, the more I learned not only to role play, but I learned about GOR. Another more important event has been attending the classes. I frequently attend classes at both the Gorean Basic Training Academy and also the Gorean campus. These places are invaluable. The people there are truly dedicated to advanced role play, to increase fair and immersive role play, and that has been a true gift. The discussions that I have both in the class and outside the class has been an overwhelming, I would say, gift, because each and every person brings a little bit of their understanding to me. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with, but that's, that is life. I recently started learning through the books of GOR, and that has helped me in using greetings, understanding the animals, the fauna and the flora. Just like on Earth, each city we go to has different rules, different laws. It's very important that we know when we get off the dock and step into a new city that we know what is expected of us. I have gone somewhere where I was not wearing a veil or gloves and I was nearly collared. So luckily I spoke eloquently and respectfully and was able to actually have that man escort me safely through the city. So it matters how we react as well to other people's role plays.
So you can actually walk around freely in other cities, i.e. Sims, as long as you follow their rules, because obviously it's a different city, so you're not instantly going to get collared because you misunderstood something.
Well, most cities are quite understandable, and they might even come into your IMs out of character or OOC. Just to give you a heads up, here, I know you're new here, just so you know, here you must wear a veil, or here all free women must be accompanied by an escort. Most laws are only valid within city walls. So the outskirts, anything can happen. So as a free woman or as any Gorean, you want to be prepared. You want to be on guard. It's very common knowledge if you read the books or if you read the note cards available in most of the libraries across the cities that stranger equals enemy on GOR. So you may not draw your weaponry openly for fear of being impaled. So yes, know your rules. Know your rules. Know your Sims before you go anywhere. If you have a friend, contact them. Ask for I guess, a tour of the city.
Well, that's like really if you go anywhere, even if in real life, if you're not too sure, then either don't go or find someone that knows. So that's good advice. So how would you say to somebody if they were going to join GOR as a free woman, what would your advice be for them?
Well, I would do what I did, which was first hit a library and get some resources and start reading, know what my role is as a free woman and what the expectations are. Then I would have to decide whether I want to be a free woman of the North or the South, as the lives and livelihoods are very, very different. Then, of course, I would have to choose a caste. That's important. We all have to work. We all have to know our case. Most free women don't really have to work. They usually either follow along the case that they are born into. Some may take on the case of their companion. That's depending on the city that they're living in. Then I would definitely, if possible, at the very least the first book. I think it's Talismans of GOR, and any other book that would relate to your chosen case or I guess group. Then I actually ventured out on the pilgrimage to Sardar, and that is how I found Tharna itself. I visited many cities. I wore a staff on my back. I was required to visit each city. I think it's a minimum of 10 for a minimum of 3 hours each. Now, some cities I went to and I was not greeted, pretty much basically ignored. But for instance, when I ventured into Tharna, right away their ambassador came and greeted me. She offered me a room to stay for 3 days in their inn. She sent a group notice to the entire group informing them that I was here. Lady Seuss was here on a visit. Throughout my stay, I had various citizens come and greet me and give me tours. I was also new to Second Life as well as role playing, so I was getting tons of feedback. I continued on my journey, on my pilgrimage, and eventually returned here where I was offered a position as the editor of the Tharna Scroll. I made lots of friends. I have really good friends here. My eventual companion had spent a lot of time training me because in Tharna it is a city built by women and ruled by women essentially, and all citizens, including women, are expected to defend her. So I do have a bow and I do carry scimitars or katanas, and a lot of time has been spent in training me. And eventually we kind of became smitten with each other and spent more and more time with each other, and finally he asked me to be his companion. Now we are planning to grow our house and our family. I've recently had the breeding wine, I believe. I think it's called noble wine. I'm not sure. Forgive me. And we will soon be growing the house with slaves and children. So I'm looking forward to that role play as well.
Well, it sounds really, really interesting.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'd like to do more, but we've been talking for at least 30 minutes now.
Oh.
And like I said, it sounds really interesting, and I'm hoping when we put this up on YouTube and it goes live, that if anybody wants to ask any questions, we can come back to you, because we can say we'll go back and see what people want to ask and find out a bit more of the role in depth. So
I would love to. I'd be very happy to invite anyone to come back. We love having lots of company here in Tharna. And of course I like to talk.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It really has. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this episode here, and I'm going to say, and do correct me if I get it wrong, I'm going to say thank you very much, Seuss Hawk of Tharna.
Perfect.
Cool, thank you. To my lovely Queen Abyssinia.
Thank you, my dear.
And this is the first interview of a free-born woman, and we're going to say thank you very much. This is HMK signing off, and we will see you on the next interview when I can find a willing participant. Bye bye for now.
Thank you, Sue.
I wish you well.